Welcome everybody to today's webinar. Today we will talk about circular economy, more specifically sustainable business success with circular economy. Certainly nowadays we will have to define business success in a different way, and that's also what we're going to talk about, new ways of thinking. So what is the agenda for today? First, we're going to present ourselves a little bit, so you also should know who you're dealing with, so to say. Then we're going to have a little quick poll on how familiar you are with circular economy. It's just quick. We'll do it here within the Zoom meeting. Then we're going to dive into the concepts. So you already get a deeper understanding of certain terminologies that we have around in circular economy, so it's easier for you to understand. And then for us, it's really important also to then show how to translate that into different business models. So we're going to show you certain categories of business models, and then we also show some good practice examples to make it even better to understand how it's working. And then we would like to show you also some next steps, so you can get out of the webinar today already knowing, okay, how can I now go from knowing into acting a little bit. That's our biggest objective, that we not only translate you the main concepts and theoretical approaches or fundamentals, but we really would like to start doing. So now, before we go into the why, we would like to introduce ourselves. Maybe Alex, you can go first, and then we're gonna know about Andreas, and finally I will introduce myself too.
Okay, thank you, Philip, for your introduction. Here is Alex, Alexandre Fernandes. I'm from Brazil. I work with circular economy for the global South since 2011. I work. I can say that I'm a pioneer in Brazil, and I'm happy to see many people now entering and enjoying to be part of the circular economy and a cradle to cradle. And I will be today talking with you about the basics a little bit, but already directed to the meaningful part of the circular economy, which is for business and small business and teams in companies. So this is more or less what I'm going to talk about you and give you an introduction and a flavor of what you can have with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Andreas.
Hello, my name is Andreas. I'm German, based in Vienna. So I saw already in the introduction, we have a lot of international people here, even not living in their countries. I was actually, circular economy for me started when I was born, basically because I was growing up on a farm where waste was something which was no option. So we were kind of circulating everything. Then after studying and working in project management for more than 20 years, I'm now the Circular Economy Club organizer in Vienna. I also looked into cradle to cradle and always trying to find out what is stopping people actually to become circular, because we have a lot of meetings talking about circularity, and today is another meeting. But what actually helps that companies, individuals start going to their own circular way? And I'll talk a bit about it when I introduce the business models, the different business models, and the tools we are going to use, and also what's needed as a mindset for becoming a good member of the circular economy.
Thank you very much, Andreas. My name is Philip Schuster. I'm the founder of Seeds for Sustainability, and I'm also have been in the field for sustainability also a long time. I was influenced pretty much by my high school teachers that brought me into thinking into a green economy already. I studied economics, got frustrated actually with the economic system, and I was really sad about what's happening to the planet. And I started learning about permaculture, which is pretty much in line with what Andreas was saying, living on a farm and being circular. So when you think of permaculture, it's also applying the ecological design to a business or to a farm. So from that side, I like designing things in a circular way, and I'm really excited about having the webinar today and having these two excellent experts here on board with me. So Before we now dive into the why, I would like you to interact with us quickly. We now have a little poll. I hope you can now see it. You should be seeing it now. Couple of questions just for us to know a little bit. How much do you know about circular economy? Yeah, how much are you aware? No, what items do you know? Is it new, or is it something you're familiar with? We've seen there's someone from the circular fashion industry also here in the audience. Interesting. I'm also curious about what questions you might bring into our comments. So we see for some it's new. Some have already seen some about it. Some people are already familiar with it, so we see some diversity here. Let's still give people a chance to vote. Some people are still joining. Feel free to give us your feedback. People are still joining the webinar, so I'll leave it open for a couple more seconds and give people the chance to vote, but I will also close it in a minute. For some it's new, some I've already seen. It's good that you're familiar with some terms. We will provide you also with some deeper insights, hopefully, and we also have room for interactive question and answers. So for everybody who is already more familiar with the topics, we have the chance to ask our experts and get rid of all your questions and comments you would like to share with us. So yeah, most of you voted. For the time's sake, I will end the poll now, and we see that most of you have heard something about it. So that's great, and I'm happy to see that you're curious to know more. So the why maybe is a bit more familiar for you. Yet it's good to refresh and see also the content in which we are currently moving, also from the political side. When we look at the worldwide agenda, of course, climate change is one topic, which obviously is already reason enough to talk about a circular economy, but we can also think about the resource use. And for me, one shocking thing is always to think about the global overshoot day. Don't know if you heard about it already. It's a concept that measures basically until what day of the year are we able to live on a sustainable basis, on resources that could be regenerated within the same time period of this year. And when we pass that day, we basically are creating a debt with Mother Earth, if you want to say so, with the planet. And most industrialized countries we see, they're pretty early. Spain was just 2 weeks ago, and other countries from the industrialized part are already past their day, so showing that we are definitely living over our means. So this is a clear why for the circular economy. A different why, which is maybe now obviously from our side here, we presented out of the European context a little bit. Alex can also give us a more international perspective, of course. But the Green Deal is something that is influencing in Europe a lot, and will definitely also influence other countries. And other countries are also looking at a Green Deal, maybe in a different form, but the term now is out there too. And when you just look at the pure numbers, the EU wants to make the country or the continent climate neutral until 2050, and they're investing $1.6 trillion. Well, of course, it will be in euros, but this notice here is from dollars, into a green and circular economy. So we see that everything goes into that direction, and we just recently saw also that the new circular economy action plan was launched, showing what are the hot topics, and where we have to move to. And when you see that the EU launches that, you will know that certain countries have to already implement it into their legislation. Spain just 2 or 3 weeks ago announced that they adapted the strategy into a national strategy, and now they will change regulation, and that will definitely affect a lot of people. Let's look at what is planned here in the action plan, just to look at the bullet points real quick. The norm should be to make products sustainable. So now it won't be any more niche of being sustainable. It will become the norm, or it should become the norm from the political agenda, and that will change the whole context a lot. So it's either you jump on the train or you are left behind a little bit. That's a bit of also the message we would like to launch today. Let's get ready for a circular economy. Um, it also means that we need to empower consumers and public buyers. From an awareness point of view, we need to know the consequences and life cycle, for example, of products. Yeah, certain sectors will under be more scrutiny than others. We see here that electronics and ICT is a focus area. Batteries and vehicles. Of course, we talk about green mobility. Everybody's talking about electric cars, but hey, let's look about where are the parts coming from and what is the life cycle of a battery, for example. There's circular ways and there's non-circular ways of looking at it. We look at plastics. Yeah, obviously it's a big topic. Textiles. Great to have someone also today on board in the audience from the textile industry. So let's look what are the questions here. Interesting. Also the construction sector in Spain specifically, it's a huge sector. So it will change a lot here locally in where I am based. Food, water, and nutrients. In general, the objective is to have a circular economy, which means less waste or ideally zero waste. That should be the objective. And it has to work, so it has to be practical and be able to be implemented. So I already mentioned in Spain, it has been law basically, or the law, it will change since the government adopted the strategy. Now the new legislation is formulated and soon companies have to prepare. And this is just one example of one of the countries, and in other European countries the same thing will happen. It's just a matter of when they're going to then implement the directive. And that also will have obviously lots of spillover effects into other regions. For example, other countries that want to then trade with the EU will have to start implementing that approach as well. So, and of course, worldwide, it won't be the last region and the only region where circular economy is now on the top political agendas. And I think Alex has lots of more about to say about that. So now, from my side, that's the why. Why should we do a circular economy? And now let's look into the how and what is it really, a circular economy. So please, Alex.
So thank you, Philip. So we can see that the circular economy has gained a lot of traction these last years. Well, if you see that Ellen MacArthur started in 2010, the Cradle to Cradle book has been since 2002. I helped Bill and Michael to launch the book in Brazil 2011. So it's all very new, but we need this fast. We need this to be fast as it is. So to be able to go for the changes we need in society and the way you produce and the way we consume products. So just presenting myself, I like to very much that you focus on this image from Buckminster Fuller. He was an architect, an engineer. So what he did mainly, he put the world in a map, all connected. So you can see all the land connected in this map. This is the most accurate map in terms of proportion of the continent. So he managed to do this. It was his goal. But in the end, what he get is see the world in a completely different perspective. So I think first time I saw this image, I was wondering, look, I can live from Brazil walking and go all the way and, I don't know, get to Asia if I want. So it's a completely different new perspective to see the world connected as it is, and not with these spaces between the continents. It's the idea of a spaceship Earth. And I started in Brazil as an entrepreneur. That today I still work as an entrepreneur, and I started many works. Started with an advocacy company representing Braungart and the Cradle to Cradle in Brazil since 2011. And from then on, I'm working with projects for the whole region, projects for Brazil and Caribbean, and working with companies in Brazil, and also doing advisory and developing for business in general, for government, and I had worked a little bit with the academy as well. So my goal in Brazil was to how the circular economy can be applied locally. What changes in social, economical, and environmental perspectives. So as a business, you need to know your public, you need to know your context. If you don't do that, you're not able to succeed, right? So the same for circular economy. You need to go for understanding where you are and how you're gonna put your product and your services to the clients. But what the circular economy comes, it's to the understanding of you are part of a much bigger environment, a much bigger system. And I will present to you a little bit, then you can understand how you are and where you are and how can you really influence and be part of this change. So let's see. Just to change. Okay. Oh my God. What happened? Philip, can you help me?
Yes, something happened with the remote control. So try it now.
Okay.
Yeah, try it again.
Okay.
Just click with your cursor. If not, you just let me know and I change the slide.
Yeah. Just
now it should work.
another try.
Seems like it's
Okay.
working.
Okay.
Perfect.
So first thing is, look how much recycling, reassembling, and redesign and what's a word? There's many words and many more. Sustainability has turned into nerds and should not be a nerds, for specialists or for people who are in deep and understanding the details. Should be something wide, very clear, very easy to use, very easy to understand. Then you can put your efforts in your business and know that you are part of sustainability, of a sustainable development. So let's try again. So you have to, oh, Philip, I believe you have to help me. It's
that's
best,
okay.
it's best.
Don't worry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Not use it too. Okay. So you can change the slide for me. Thank you. Okay, so you have this diagram. I hope you have seen it before. It's the butterfly diagram. Ellen MacArthur Foundation and the Cradle to Cradle had designed this and put all together. You can say that this is a bigger map. You know, it's like opening a roadmap. If you're gonna try to understand every detail at once, it's like crazy. You know, it's too much. So you need to know where you are on the road, what the road you are, where you want to be, and then you start to go step by step. So some questions arise when you think about circular economy. You know, for instance, how can I get the value from service that are provided by products? You know, first question, every product is providing a service. You know, a chair is providing the service to sit. Food is providing the service to eat or to be pleasure with the flavor. A restaurant is providing the service of a dining room. You meet your friends. It's providing the service of a cooker that makes you, I don't know, a pasta or some Spanish food or Brazilian food. So you need to know the value of the service. This is what changes in the circular economy. Second question you can make for yourself as a business: how to get the value from sustainable materials management, which is a sustainable material for the first place. You know, you need to know the circular economy helps you to know if the materials I'm using in my product are sustainable. You know, it's not just about the product, because the product has many materials, but knowing each material of your product. This is what changes the perspective of your product. You need to know the materials flow, the materials sustainability. So this is another knowledge that the circular economy gives you this perspective. Then you can go deeper on the questions on and understanding the materials and knowing how to manage this in a sustainable way. So again, another very important question if you want to understand your place in this new economy. Every example I give you, I will give you another examples um, in the following slides. You're gonna understand by examples. So third question is important to think about how to think the value from how can you get the value from collaborating with others in your value chain. First thing, you're always part of a value chain. So understanding your role in this value chain is very important. If you are a producer, if you work on extraction, or maybe trying to get new materials, biological materials or sustainable materials, or you are in the design phase, or in the end, you're recovering materials to take back to the system. So let's look at a little bit of it. You need to know where you are in your value chain and how to collaborate, because circular economy is all about collaboration. You are part of a system now. You're not just a business anymore. You cannot survive thinking your business as an island. And the fourth question I can give you, there's many more, but this, I believe, are the four main important ones as an introduction. How to get the value from circular economy, being recognized as a sustainable business. So it doesn't matter what you do, you need to be for people. People need to know the clients, your clients, and the society, and the value chain, the whole system needs to know that you are sustainable. So how to communicate this, how to present your goals, present your perspective, your vision, and what you're doing. So Philip, if you can change for the next slide, let's see a little bit of some to understand. So first thing, we were at now, since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, in a linear take, make, waste system. So it's easy to say take, make, waste, but what it is, it's a value chain, it's a supply chain and it's a value chain. There's many roles: extraction, processing, design, manufacturing, retail, use, end of life, disposal. There's rules, there's regulations, there are consumers, there's many things. But basically what we do now, we understand that our business is part of some place in a linear system, and we are part of taking natural resources from one side and transforming it into pollution in another side. Doesn't matter if you take the project, if you repurpose it, or you are trying to extend the life, but if you are in a linear, you're just doing the same, doesn't change. You need to think it different. You need to collaborate in different. You need to understand that when you're having any value from the actor that is coming from you, for instance, if you have a sale, you're selling, if you're retail, right? You just have your store in downtown. So you're just buying products and selling products. This is your role, have a brand. But you need to know if that you're doing, it's within a circular or within a linear value chain. So understanding your product, understanding your role in a value chain. Next slide, please, Phil. Okay, so basics, understand what is linear. The understanding of the circular economy. In your left side, you have a linear economy. So there's many natural resources being used, being consumed, as we say, and in the end, we have many of these natural resources. Can be renewable resources, can be non-renewable resources, but they all come to the landfill. So there's just a few that we keep as buildings for, I don't know, 50 or 100 years. You have some durable stuff like cars, or I don't know, furniture. But in the end, they're going to the landfill or incinerated or turn into pollution or etc. So this is the problem of linear economy. What we want to do is basically shrink the amount, well, you have in the right side, the circular economy, you shrink the amount of the natural resources you take, you increase the amount of non-renewable and renewable resources that you keep in use. So, you know, you have this thick blue circle, which is not really a circle, it's more a system, a network, but it's okay to think it as it coming and going many times, keeping this in loops and have this as a stock. It's very valuable stuff. Now we need to value every step we take from every stuff we take from natural resources. We need to keep it in the loop, keep in the system as much as we can. And in the end, we shrink the amount of landfill and incineration. So basically, what we can do is look for products, materials, and services that we can keep the most time as we can for the valuable, the most value we can in the system. So, Philip, can change for me, please. Okay, so this is the cradle-to-cradle system. If you already read the book in Portuguese or any other language, or if you're used to this, it's not new for you, but it's interesting to get from, you know, some more from this idea. What is the idea? You have to understand every product in two streams. You know, every product, you have some parts of this product that are from the technical loop, the technical flow, which is the use flow. You know, so imagine a bottle of wine. You know, you have the bottle of wine, it's glass. You have, I don't know, some metal, some from the cap or the cork. But the cork is already in the biological cycle. So the cork will be used for some time, but in the end, you come back to the system, come back to the ecological system, so come back to nature. So every time you see a product now, a wine, you drink the wine, and after a while, maybe some hours, it comes back to the system again and comes back to through the toilet and the sewage system, should be back to nature, safe as a nutrient. So every time you look to a product, start to understand this product in two streams. So the technological parts of the technical parts, which are the synthetic, the non-renewable parts, you know, metals, glass, plastics, or aluminium. You have minerals. You keep this on the floor. It's a way of, you have to deal with this parts in a way. In the other hand, you have the biological products, the biological parts, the cork, the wine. So parts that you gonna keep this in the loop for a while, but after some use, you know, you have it getting back safe to nature. So it's and you have to understand the tools to design, or to understand the design of a product. You know, for instance, design for disassemble. It's very important that the biological parts, bio-based materials, and the technical materials are not mixed in a way that you cannot take it apart, because you will need to take it. You know, you have to understand the waste streams. It's not more waste, because if you separate these two streams, the technical one and the biological one, and put the materials you want to get back to recycling, or to reuse, or to be repurposed. So think about it every time you look to your product now, and including if you're not designing or just a user or sales or retail of products, you need to look at your products and see, oh, this is not sustainable, you know, because it's mixing, you know, a fiber, a natural fiber with some plastics. You know, it doesn't matter if it's recyclable from recycling plastics and it's a natural organic fiber. When you mix the two, it's a problem. you know. So please, to another slide. So the third thing you need to know is about sustainability. So best tool to work with sustainability is the Sustainable Development Goals, and the circular economy can help you, including there's a many works already trying to connecting the circular economy with the goals and the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. So three things mainly: how to optimize the resource yields. So if you circulate the products, the components, the materials, you get the most of utility and durability. So you get the most of the resources you get from nature, or you're producing with energy. So this basic things of circular economy, this is sustainable. This impacts many sustainable development goals. You need to master this and to understand. To preserve and enhance natural capital, yes, when you get these products as nutrients, biological ones, back to the system, back to ecology, back to nature, you are returning this as nutrients to have more ecosystem services, to have more of natural and renewable resources. And third thing is, Philip, just a question. I believe I have, it's 15 minutes I have here, not 10, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's just to get a line. So and third thing is to foster systems and eco-effectiveness. So what is try to be part of the regeneration of ecosystems. So think on regeneration of society, you know, social streams, social relations. You are regenerating the economics because you're making economy works, and you are regenerating also the ecosystems. So now your business has a completely different meaning, you know, and your products. Philip, can you help me? So examples, you know, this is very sharp, very quickly. What they're doing in Denning X, they're taking old jeans, you know, they're taking the fibers, they upgrading these fibers with some bio-based plastic. So you have natural resources, bio-based resources, you have upcycling, you have taking, you have cascadings, which is jeans is made from cotton, is good for jeans for a while, but after is not good enough for clothes. You can still use the material to another use in a different quality, which is as fibers. So you can make, you know, some laminated panels and use it as for instance a bag, or they're even doing parts of car parts or computer parts, you know, using this denim mixed with bio-based plastic. So take a look and be aware of the new materials. Bio-based materials are coming. Bio-based material will be the future, and this composites, which is mixing bio-based material. Look, they are not mixing technical materials, you know, plastics from petroleum with natural fibers. You know, this is not good. But in this way, you have a cradle to cradle and circle economy look. Philip. Another example is, for instance, new technologies like knitting. You know, the knitting, which is the woven of this, the new shoes. To make shoes, you can make shoes, you can make anything you want, but you do a shoe now with just two materials, you know? You have the textile and you have the sole. It can be a rubber, it can be natural rubber, you can be something you can recycle, but much easier to disassemble, much easier to, you can use recycled textiles to do this knitting, you can use bio-based textile, but you know, be aware of this new technical non-renewable resources and how it can be optimized, how the technologies that are coming that you optimize, you get efficiency, you don't have waste on production, you can disassemble, you can have modularity. So Covestra is working a lot on this type of technology, but there's many others. Be aware to these opportunities that are coming, and is all well aligned with the circular economy, using these materials and and upgrading and having many keeping this product many more time as a valuable materials in the loop, in the system. Philip, thank you. So third example is Valde. Valde is a family company in Europe working with very nice and well done, high quality clothes for sports. So first thing, it's a clothes for outside sports. So they get how they put the circular economy together with sustainability. They are looking for the design of the product. They are looking for the materials, so new criteria. They're looking for the manufacturing criteria, use and care. So help you how to use and take care of your product, and how to recycle and dispose it well safe. So if you take a look at this, it's a very nice example on how they're putting sustainability and circularity in every detail. So as they understand their product is part of a value stream, they are trying to add sustainability into each part of the stream, each step of the product, and they're trying to connect the clients with this strategy and trying to sell it and get more from the product and more from the system, and more value, to deliver more value to the clients, and make them understand what is the importance, how they connect with the brand. It's not about not wasting water or not wasting energy. It's about really making things better and improve it to the product and to the client. Philip, we are almost in the end. So basically, what you have here is I can say to you, you need to improve your systems thinking, which is you are part of a system. Now you're part of a value chain. You need to start to understand all the connections, all the linkage, and you have to work together. You have to collaborate. So nobody is more an island, and you're collaborating with China, Brazil, United States, and Spain at the same time. So we need to understand that we are connected, and we can say that this all this situation we now have of having the pandemic, the circular economy improves and are part of this and the idea. We now know that we are only one planet, right? So this is one thing that the clients and the society are really understanding now, that we are part of a system. So business as well. Second thing, life cycle thinking. Your product is, you need to understand that it's part of a life cycle. It's not a life cycle because products didn't die, right? But the materials, you have to keep it in a loop. So you understand that there's no end for a material. The material is always circulating, There's no way of just disposing it, because the disposing out is disposing in. We are one in one planet. So that's the way. So thinking life cycle for your product quality from cradle to cradle. And last thing, thinking in sustainability terms. Always understand you're part of a sustainable system, and you need to know the value you're delivering for society, for economy, and for environment. Think about it. You can take value from this, and you could deliver value in these three perspectives. So thank you very much. This is what was my class for you today, and I believe Andreas has now more things to present. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Before we give Andreas the stage for the business models, we have a good transition now, a quick poll with you. Let's see where you consider having maybe your own business opportunities, just to see. We talked about the technical cycle, the biological cycle, or the product service system, which goes into the presentation of Alex. So let's see where everybody can. Is it just me seeing the results? Just a quick feedback. Okay, so let me change the sharing the screen like this. Should work. Now you should see how the live poll is going, right? Do you see the poll now, Alex and Andreas? Can you see it? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Very good.
Good. So yeah, let's give people some time to vote and take a little breath. Lots of interesting information. It's a complex topic, so for us it's a big challenge to have detail and be also giving you an overview. So the topic is really interesting, innovative, and really this current state of the art, if you want to say so. And finally, at the end of Alex's presentation, he already went into how to go into a business and how to bring it into a business model, and that's also now what Andreas is going to present to us. Yeah, here we see in the audience, when we look at the poll, we see 22% in the technical cycle, some in the biological, 4%, and most of you in the product service system. So now Andreas will give us some more insights into the different business models. Thank you very much, and for your participation, and thank you, Alex, also for your insights. Now, Andreas, please, I'm looking forward to.
Yes, so if you can move the slides, I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so it's about business models and opportunities. So we have heard from Alex what is it all about circular economy, but how do you play a role and what is your role? I mean, you answered, you see yourself more in the product service system, which is a bit surprising for me because we haven't gone so much into it, but it's actually quite good that you're looking into that direction. So if you go to the next slide, Philip. So what is a business model? A business model describes the rationale, how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. Because what I've seen in my 20 years being a project manager, think about projects. Project means developing the future of a company. And it must be sustainable per se if you have a project. And I've seen a lot of waste being projects not being executed well or not really delivering the business benefit in the end. So it's very important to have that, for me also to have that project thinking when it comes about business models. Business model is a starting point and you need to see how can I transform that into a real business. And we'll have a look, Philip, you'll show it with the next page. We'll have a look at what are the areas of opportunities for circular economy you have. And Alex has mentioned some of them. So basically, it should be easy for you to also follow through. And one key element actually is the design. So in all of these 7 elements, you can find ways on how to incorporate circular economy strategies, opportunities for your company. I will not go through all of the 7 points because of time constraints, and will give you some ideas of the areas which are not so typical for us to think about. Because when we talk about circular economy, especially when we're here in Europe or in Austria and in Germany where I've been living, it's a lot about how to deal with waste. But actually we shouldn't get into waste at all. So if we think about waste, we are thinking the wrong direction. We should think about resources. And of course, to apply these strategies of reselling, repairing, remanufacturing, or even recycling, you need to design the products in a way that they can be reused, that they are really good for the cycles, as Alex has mentioned. It's also about sourcing. Where do your products come from and how do you produce them? It's about energy efficiency. It's about having the right healthy products. So there are a lot of strategies in that area. I'll look into the next areas with some examples. And I'd like you to think about for yourself when I'm presenting, is that an opportunity we have in the area I'm working in? Or if you are a startup, if you are going to start your new business, is there some vacancy in the market? Is it not there yet? Or is it there in another country, but not in my country? That's what I see very often when I'm following the circular economy topics, that I can see a great solution. And quite often when you look at the Netherlands, you will find some. I see a great solution in the Netherlands, but what's happening here? Why is it not applied here? So I think even when we bring these global ideas, which are somewhere around, to a local solution, because in my understanding, the local circular economy is very strong. We need to have local cycles rather than going out and build global cycles, because then we still have a lot of transport. So we need to have local cycles, because being from Europe, I was always wondering, where do our materials come from? And we always say we don't have raw materials. Well, we have a lot of materials, raw materials, but we don't have them in the earth, we have them on the earth. And that's what urban mining and all the collection of gold from the iPhones, for example, is about. So let's dig into some of the strategies, Philip. Let's have a look at the use and share. It's nice that Alex already presented you Vaude, which is a German company. So based on their idea of full sustainability and having the materials which are really healthy, they are taking the next step and thinking, but what do our customers do with it? What do they need it for? And if you think about a tent or a sleeping bag or other outdoor equipment, and the tent may be more than sleeping bag because there it's quite personal. How often do you use a tent? Well, you do, if you're not a professional camper, you use it sometimes for camping, but you don't need it all the time. So they went to the next steps. They said, we have so good material and we want it to be used. So every time you think about idle capacity of your materials, the same we are used to thinking about that in cars when it comes to car sharing. We are not so used about looking at how much office space is empty during the whole day or the whole night. So how can you use that more efficiently? So there are a lot of areas where you can have a look at how can I use it more efficiently, and how can I provide the use to someone who maybe doesn't need it all the time. If we look a step ahead, Philip, the VD also looks into other areas because they looked into repair and maintain. And I think what is a very important message, and that's when it comes to sustainability, because VD is also a company, they are working according to the principles of the economy for the common good. So really a full-thrown sustainability, which you can see on other webinars from Philip. It's the intention. We help you to maintain your equipment properly so that you can enjoy it as long as possible. So it's basically, they don't want people to buy all times the new. So they have changed their idea. They help the use rather than focus on how can I sell as much as I can. They've put themselves also in the mind of the users. And of course, the design will help with that. And if we go to the next page, Philip. So maybe to also to not only say VD in the area of outdoor, of course, Patagonia is a strong player. They also do repair. They also do use used products, but I wanted to look at a completely different area now, which is Caterpillar, which I think they also, like VD, they develop. So they have this idea in mind, how can I provide the best working environment for my customers, for the users? And step by step, they find out what else is needed by the users or what else could we provide. So also when you are looking on your way to circularity, it's not a revolution, it's a revolution in mind, but an evolutionary process to get there. Also VD, they just, for example, thinking back what I wanted to say, VD, they have this rental of gear only in Germany and they only do it by themselves. But of course they will need partners if they want to offer the same in other countries. So that could be something where you could come on board if you are not working in the company. They will be searching for people who can locally support these services. And for Caterpillar, they build the big machines, of course. That's a lot of material, a lot of resources, a lot of valuable resources, and then they are providing you with the upgrades, so with the parts. So it must be, of course, designed in a way that you can easily change parts without changing the whole product. For large equipment, that's a different thing than for smaller equipment. So it's maybe for you to think about how can we provide material in a way that it's really easy to resell and that it keeps its value. And also they do rental, they sell the used equipment, so they take it back, and there's additional service also for the taking back and checking that you get the guarantee. There are a lot of companies providing warranties on used products, and that's also quite a helpful solution. And their focus is to do the work. So they have the different areas. They also have an area of remanufacturing. If you go to the next slide, they invested quite heavily in that. And what I like from this picture is really to see they value their materials, they value their products, they focus on quality. They build it into the guidelines for design that remanufacturing can be done. And there are more and more companies doing that remanufacturing and saying, hey, actually, our machines are so great, we can offer them again just by doing some upgrades, but we need to build them in a way that we can upgrade them easily. And actually, Caterpillar also does products as a service. So where you just get the equipment, and there are other companies doing similar solutions. And of course, for refurbish, remanufacture, you can always think, is like for furniture, do we need to have, can we apply new designs to old valuable resources, to old valuable solutions and yeah, furniture. The next slide, please. One local example, as I'm from Vienna, and I'm very excited always to talk to the owner of the repair and service center. They started with repairing washing machines and other electronics, but he's also engaged in the European, the circular economy action plan, basically working on the rules for planned obsolescence, which will come, and for testing. So they are developing solutions for verifying and testing that a product is actually made for no planned obsolescence. And they started offering then the machines, the washing machines. They started offering services for coffee drinking. They even started to do washing as a service rather than you buying the washing machine. You're just, depending on how many times you wash each week, you pay a price, but you have the washing machine in your house and you have access to repair and everything. So it's quite good because washing machines, they can be 20 years working properly without need to big upgrades. If you go to the next slide, because that's all in German. So I used an example from a Dutch company. They also use washing as a service and they use services for different products. The question always for you should be, who's the best owner of the product? Who should best own the product? Should it be the end user? Should it be me, who has no clue about how a washing machine works and how to repair it? I mean, yes, you can learn something from platforms, but wouldn't it be better the producer is still the owner of the product, because then the idea of we want to have the best quality for the product for everyone is very strong, because I don't lose the materials. I still maintain owner of the valuable materials of my products. And that's a very strong opportunity. I see that with furniture, with office furniture, for example, where like Steelcase is a company, they offer just sitting and the furniture for you, but they maintain the owner of the furniture, so they get their materials back and can reuse it. But they also designed it from the starting point to be reused. So that were some ideas on business models for circular economy. And of course, you need to find your own model. So you need to find out where is actually your role, where is your space, and we'll show you some tools after. I think we have a short Q&A session right now. If you go to the next slide, so I'll pass back to Philip.
Yes, thank you very much, Andreas. And interesting cases. Yeah, VD is really a great example for many things, but Caterpillar also do a lot, and also interesting repair shop examples. So we saw a lot of ways of applications. So now it's open for you in the chat to ask all of us your questions you have, comments you have. It's the easiest since we have a bigger group to write it. So we can communicate via the chat, but you can just ask all three of us whatever you feel like. And we have some time, and then afterwards we have a bit more on tools and outlook, what can be done as the next step. But so much from the input side. Yeah, it's a little bit of more input after this, but now we really would like to give you the chance to ask us questions. There's a question actually. Okay, hello everyone. Thank you too. I wanted to ask you a question to Alex. Do you know any circular initiative in Brazil dealing with buildings and constructions waste? Wait, your microphone was. Yeah, now
Okay,
we can hear.
now?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, in Brazil, we have now a very good national policy for waste, and it's very well aligned with the circular economy. It's a 10-year national plan, but has been 10 years that it has been launched, more or less, a little bit more. But it was very well aligned with circular economy. For instance, concepts like having all the supply chain working together, or you look into waste as a social and an economic value. So there's many elements there, and the construction sector is improving a lot in Brazil. They're not really understanding the circular economy, and you need many products to construction products and systems to support a more sustainable and more circular construction. But I feel that the architects and engineers are improving. I'm an architect, so I already did some work on circular economy for buildings for a little bit, and advices for another professionals in the area. But I know that construction side is improving in Brazil, but not well fully aware on circular economy yet. We have a much to learn yet.
Thank you very much. We have more questions in the chat. I'm trying to organize them a little bit. So the first one, if we could give some more examples, or if there's somewhere like an overview, if someone would like to look up like circular star, like best examples, where could they find that?
I mean, you can find examples always on the Ellen MacArthur Foundation websites. There are quite a lot of circular economy examples. There are also some other places in the internet. So in the meantime, it's really growing, but it's very important, I think, to look behind the scenes. So is it really also sustainable business, or is it something like you are doing the same business before in linear ways, now in circular ways, still exploiting people? So it's something which is important, or are you kind of restricting others to participate? Because if sometimes with the closing the loop, if some companies close the loop, it's a bit dangerous because they may just take back their own products and then others don't have the access. I had one example which is not very positive is like Apple. They, for example, they are restricting repair in some countries, trying to avoid that it's locally repaired without the Apple parts, which they then don't provide. And that's not good. So it must be really a fair and honest relationship of working together. I'm not saying Apple does a lot, but in that case, I didn't like it at all. So then, there are a lot of examples, and I'll take the coffee stores one directly as it was below. So what I think what we have in Vienna here, for example, and you see in some other countries as well, is of course from the coffee stores, so growing mushrooms on coffee waste. There's something we have a lot of the cups, the coffee cups, which are being circulated. So it's not that you always get a coffee to go cup, but you can get a cup from the company and you can give it back somewhere else. So that's happening, I think, quite a lot.
If I can may
Sure.
say something, I saw many questions and maybe this can answer some of them. One thing we are doing here in Brazil now, I'm working in a project which is together Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay, and Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay, and Chile. And what is each country is doing their roadmap on circular economy, right? So imagine 10 years ago, in 2011, basically it was innovative products. They're trying to, improve their, the quality. And circular economy started to say, the credit to credit started to say, oh, you need to circulate, you need to be safe, you need to be healthy for environment and for people. So you need to be disassembled and recyclable. So it was the beginning, centered on the product and all efforts in business, developers and designers trying to do their best. Now, 10 years after, you have the action plan in Europe with trillion of euros, you have many roadmaps for different countries in in Europe, and now you have the action plan in China and some Asian countries, Japan, and now in the developing countries as well, Brazil, Chile, Mexico, and now you have for Cuba, for Costa Rica, and others. So having a roadmap and having a vision where you can collaborate between business, among the business and with government, trying to align efforts. So now be prepared because we're gonna have a lot of funding. We're gonna start to have a lot of new regulations. We're gonna have more new alignments and campaigns. So the traction that I feel this is the next wave. Or people are talking about the circular economy 3.0. The first one was the early 70s. Now you have in the beginning of the century, and now we have the third wave of the circular economy. It's much more robust. You have government understanding that and knowing how to work and roadmap, trying to align society, government, and the business, and as well with the academy. So the academy is ramping up the amount of concepts and research on that. So I believe because professionals need to know what is circular economy, engineers and administrations, etc., and architects, designers. So I think as a business, it's very strategic to be prepared for this. There will be many opportunities having grants, including Brazil is already starting. And I saw a question now about the advantages, or if it's feasible to start a circular economy in Brazil or other developing countries. Look, developing countries have a completely different context from Europe. My mission as a Brazilian and from south of the globe was since the beginning to understand the circular economy for developing countries. So anyone who wants to be in, you are from Europe, but you want to be and extract the value from developing countries, understand how to be it, or if you are Brazilian, you want to be global. I'm looking for this. And for instance, in Brazil, all the bioeconomy, all the biodiversity, the coast, and all the materials we have here, for pharmaceuticals, for materials, for fashion, for many things. This is a huge opportunity for Brazil and developing countries many times. And in the other side, in the cultural side, all the sharing and repairing and maintaining and keeping the products within the poor communities, you know, the small communities, the countryside is it's much easier. Brazilians, I can say, in many Latin American countries, everyone keeps the products, you know, they repair it many times as they can, the clothes, everything. So improve these services and put all these services around the circular economy is a advantage for Brazil, you know, and other countries like Brazil, developing countries. So I can, we're gonna talk a little bit of this. We can go further, but mainly look different, but it will look different in the circular economy for developing countries, but it has a lot of potential.
And I think Philip will stop us very soon. Just looking at the
Yeah,
time.
the time is watching. Time is watching too. No, but we have.
I wanted to just answer 3 questions very quick, or trying it. One is, I think the most elaborate way of agricultural circularity I've experienced actually in Africa. So in Benin, in a small country where I've seen they use everything, and it's similar, like Alex mentioned. That's a totally different mindset. It's like when I was on the farm, as I mentioned, you were kind of, it was normal to use everything. You were kind of normal in the circular economy, and you don't need to put it on top. You just need to make people aware this is a great solution already, and bring it out to others and help others to understand. Then Luz Maria was mentioning on the feedback, so the product feedback. I spoke to the head of the research repair center, and he said, actually, now that the EU Circular Economy Action Plan is in place, he gets a lot more traction also from the producers. So to get feedback from his repair and his experience of using the products, which was at before not that strong. I think that's a very strong way to circulate basically also the information. So that's a very strong thing of circular economy also for the business case, as someone asked here. You get a feedback from the users. You integrate the users. Basically, the circular economy is around the user. It's not about consumers and producer and customers. It's about users. You provide the user with the information, and you get the feedback straight from the users, which you can put then into your design team. And I think that's looking also, as I'm working a lot on agile projects, basically that's the same like a design thinking approach, like agile approaches on how to develop your business. And I think circular economy is it's a must to have it that's a business development strategy. It is not something you put on top of or on side of your normal work. That is your future business. Because if you don't go to circular solutions, you'll be out of business pretty soon. So
it's not adding up. Yeah, Andrea, sorry. It's not adding up features, you know, sustainable features or material. It's really rethinking. Yeah, this is the novelty. Rethinking your products, rethinking your business, the way you work, and including the way you charge for the value of your business or services.
Okay, yeah. I think now I do have to make a short cut, so we can continue. But whoever has some unanswered questions might be staying to the end, and afterwards we can still go back to your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time to answer all of them, but in the chat we can also still answer you some questions. So now the next step would be to look at some tools. We were already now mentioning many models and examples. So now let's go a little bit through the tools, Andreas, before we can then show you some next steps.
Yes, so I wanted to show you some tools. We don't want to go into the tools because of time, but if you have interest in doing the course, as we have planned to do a full course, and we'll explain to you a little bit more later, what are tools you can use to develop your opportunities further. So it's kind of a summary, and Philip, you'll be needing to click quite fast, as I want to go quickly through it without going into details. So to identify the opportunities, I mean, I like doing it it in a workshop on site, because then people can stick post-its to the wall. With, on the one side, with COVID, we learned there are also other tools to facilitate innovation processes online, and that's one of the tools we're using here. So it's important to identify opportunities. What are the different areas? And the left side you can really customize for your own. So what are areas in which you want to look in, and what side of the business? So is it the sourcing, the material, the upstream part? Is it the production itself, or is it the usage part later on? And if we go to the next slide, then of course the thing is how to prioritize the opportunities. You can have a look at how feasible are they, how big is the opportunity, and you can then put them on in a roadmap. And that's an important thing to think about, how massive are the changes required, and when do we want to put it on the roadmap. Of course, that's something which is important to see, that you really go step by step. You won't be able to become a circular company next week or next year. It is a process. It is also a learning. So it's important to give yourself time to experiment, to find out how can we try out if this service is being asked. For example, I spoke to a guy, he was working in a machine producer, and he said, well, I'm in production, and I asked, can't we just sell some used products? And it wasn't before, they didn't do that, and they said, yeah, let's try it out. And in the meantime, it's full business. So it's really something where everyone in the company can convince people to move forward. And that's why it's important, if you go into circular economy, please involve everyone in the company, because these are the people who have the ideas. They are closer to the customers, some are closer to the production. They have so many ideas, which then can help also to make the products, or to make the services more circular. Then let's move to the next slide. So of course, that's everyone who's dealing with business models knows, you can do a business model canvas to have a more thorough evaluation of your opportunities and go a bit deeper. So that's also something where it really makes sense to bring people together. And for me, this, joint working is a very important thing, because I have seen so many companies who try to develop that from just from the leadership level. And the leadership level has a lot of ideas, but they are not as close to the customers. They are not as close to the production. And and people who are committed in a company and who feel empowered because it's a sustainable company, they will come up with ideas. And I think that's a very strong chance to bring circular economy into your company. So to involve everyone and not do it a top-down approach. Next. So we spoke about opportunities, and you've seen there are a lot of opportunities of doing it. There are business cases. You can find business cases online. You can find a lot of information, a lot of assessments, but of course, you can also get lost in all the online information in the meantime. And for me, like being now 5 years intensely in circular economy, it's kind of not new anymore, but then reflecting a bit, there are still a lot of people who haven't heard about it. So it is still new. So if you want to convince people in your company to go to more circular, to more sustainable solutions, you can choose the way of opportunities, but on the other hand, you can also say, look at the risks. So what will happen at the Circular Economy Action Plan is one thing which will state it. What will happen if we don't do anything, if we are not prepared? This Circular Economy Action Plan will come, and the European Union will act according to it, and other countries will follow. So you may not be able to sell your products, you may not be able to sell your services. And if you start changing when it comes into life, then all the others have gone past you. So that's an important thing. Start now to not be left behind, and look at the risks of not doing it. And then I have one tool more. So to really, as I come from project and portfolio management, for me, it's always important to have a balanced portfolio to find out what are the the projects which have huge benefits? What are the projects which have huge risks? What's the effort? That's the size of the bubbles here. And which projects actually can we afford right now? So basically to really finalize the roadmap. So that's some of the tools we are going to use also in the online course. And one tool more is really to have everyone think about how can I prepare myself for the circular economy? Because that's circular economy means kind of a change of mindset. I mentioned it's a revolutionary way of thinking the business, but you're going there, getting there in an evolutionary way. And if we look at the next slide, which I think it's very nice. Maybe have a first, you don't need to answer, but have a quick thought. What do you see? What spirit of business do you see here? And maybe a lot of people will see there's a competition. That's not what people who have a mindset of circular economy will see and of sustainability. Because what you see on sustainability is cooperation, people working together, people, of course, being prepared. You design your team, you need to be working together, you need to have quality, you need to have clear processes, you need to have communication, intense communication, so that it all works out. And of course, you need to have speed. So you need to be fast to adapt, you need to be innovative. And that's the mindset of a circular company, basically. If you are working in a sustainable circular economy, mainly you need to start thinking together. When I wrote my thesis quite a long time ago, I was writing on virtual organization, so how to set up virtual companies. And here we are now for, let's say, for the circular economy. You can't do it all on your own, all the different steps, the logistics, the distribution, the reselling, the repairing, and everything. You need to build robust networks. You need to build robust cooperations, and people will only cooperate with you if you have a cooperation mindset and not if you want to keep most by yourself. So that's a very important thing. And it's about quality. If you don't have a mindset of quality, if you just want to, let's say, if you just want to sell products and don't care how people, how long they last and so on, if you just look at mass products, you're maybe not prepared for the circular economy. And it's okay. That's not, maybe you will find a different way. I think the companies or the products most valuable for circular economy are the ones which are valuable materials. And you can see it in, I mentioned furniture. There's a company also in the Netherlands selling refurbished furniture, but it's furniture of brands which have a recommendation for providing a very good and very high quality products. So that's something about the spirit of business. And if we move to the next slide, Philip, something we will send you afterwards is a short questionnaire. It's 14 questions, a readiness assessment, so which you can go through yourself and just mark where do I see myself if I answer these questions, and then count the points and see if you are really prepared from the way you're working right now for a circular economy. And we did it in two ways. So one is for manufacturers and the other is for providers, because you need for distribution, for repairing, for other services, you will need other companies. And of course, for the service companies, maybe that was one of the questions. How do you do circular in a service company? Yeah, let's say for an IT company, for example, IT is a very huge enabler, and data information is a very strong enabler for circular economy. So you can also have a look at what's my mindset. Does my mindset really fit to it? That's what I wanted to tell you, and I'll pass on back to Philip.
Yeah, Thank you very much, Andreas, and also thank you very much, everybody, for your patience. Time is moving along. There's lots to say about circular economy, so that's what I mentioned earlier. For us, it was a real challenge to see how we can put lots of interesting content in a short time frame, because everybody is usually busy, and that's where we talk about business, busyness. So we like to go into more depth, and that's why we also offer an online course. Someone asked also when will it start. The exact dates we will still communicate also via the emails that we send out. The idea is that we start in July. Yeah, but then also in many countries in August, we know that most of us will have vacations and things like that. Many places closed, so we would also like to take a little break in August, but use the time in August, for example, to work on a project. That's something I will already mention now when I present the course content, and then we follow up in September. Just for you, there was a question, what about the timing? That's grossly speaking what we know so far. The content-wise, yeah, we want to divide in 3 different modules, which have each 2 workshop sessions. Yeah, the first 2 ones will be more fundamentals. We talked about them today, but yeah, as you can see, we touch it, and then there's more time needed to really work through it. Yeah, this is now an eye-opener, and then it needs to be further worked through. Yeah, and that's where we will deep dive basically into the concepts, strategies, and opportunities. From there, we move on, yeah, really into different business models. We saw today that there's different types of applications, how to be circular, and we would like to, according to what you need, also adapt to the certain needs, go through the business models. And the idea is also that you start working on your own project, which will be then the last module, basically, where we would like to let you work on your real implementation plan. It can be diverse. Yeah, you can be in the beginning stage, you can be already a bit further, but the good thing is to already start approaching it systematically. Andreas mentioned it. You can have project management properly set up and really assess risks and opportunities and things like that. We saw the canvas, also a great way, or virtual post-its. So we really would like to get into practice. So it's a course short. Yeah, as you can see, in total it's 6 sessions, but going from theory to practice, because that's our biggest desire, to put it into practice and not just talk about it. And now it's the time to act. I think we've also stressed that out. And basically that's the end of today's presentation. We like you very much for your, we would like to thank you very much for your attention and for your questions. After we say goodbye, we can still stay a little bit longer for those questions that haven't been answered, and if you still would like some feedbacks on them. But from our side, this is it. Thank you very much, Alex, and thank you very much, Andreas, and thanks everybody.
Thank you.